Welcome to the Jon and Lebo Show. Lebo here. John, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. It's been a little bit, been like a week or so. Obviously, things slow down in the summer, but definitely nice to be back. Nice. There's still a lot to talk about. Obviously, only the MLB of the Big Four going
Yeah,
on right now. There's still a lot going on. We've got the Olympics soon, and we still have our USA basketball team. They opened things up last night. They just murdered Argentina. I don't know if you saw or heard anything about that game, but they beat them by, I think the final score was 114 to 73. They just absolutely annihilated them. When your two best players are Manu Ginobili and Andres Nocioni, I think that's why. But
it's like a varsity basketball team playing against the eighth grade travel team. It's not fun to watch. It's
more
just
like against the eighth grade rec team.
that's a much more apt comparison right there.
Yeah, like
How's your week on? How's the Jackals gig going? How's everything in
it's going
Jersey?
well. It's going well. I actually got to talk to we did a deal at the Jackals, the media team and I with Bruce Beck and Iron Eagles broadcasting and sportscasting camp, where some of those campers came in and they interviewed some Jackals players. Got some reps reporting and doing all that kind of stuff. And I actually got to meet and talk to Ian and Bruce, both great guys. Very talented guys. Definitely one of the bigger names in the industry. But
Yep.
yeah, it was great to see those guys. But yeah, the Jackals good. It's a good gig. Obviously, no one really follows Can-Am League baseball, but it's it's been a good gig so far. And those
It,
guys were, again, Bruce and Ian, both great.
and I saw the Can-Am League. It was on I think Sports Center.
Oh
There was a
my goodness.
brawl.
Yeah. So I don't know. Did you see the video?
I saw it. The guy got flipped like ridiculously. It was hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. And you see the guy.
Charge the other dugout.
So here's what happened. The closer for the Jackals, Fernando Cruz, came out of the dugout because he pitched the ninth inning, gave up 5 runs, and he blew the lead. So then the game was tied at 8 in the bottom of the ninth, and then he got out of it. Then the next inning, they were chirping at him, and he sprinted out of the dugout mid pitch or like after a pitch, ran at their dugout, and obviously it didn't work in his favor. And you saw him doing that
No.
in the video, right?
Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, you at least have to get some of your teammates on the same page as you. Why would you just go over there against 25 guys and try to beat them all up?
Hey,
You're gonna get your ass kicked.
I talked to him about it.
Oh
I
yeah.
actually did, yeah, because obviously as a broadcaster, you got to talk to the players and stay in contact with them with everything going on. But I talked to him. I just talked to him about being back. I didn't want to get into the full brawl, but he definitely just does things his own way. He's a really odd guy in that sense, where he doesn't let any like opinion or anything else really cloud what he's trying to do. And like, for example, when he on the bus, I think someone was sitting in his seat, and then he just like sat in the aisle instead, like the whole time, and just didn't sit in an open seat, like to prove a point or something. The guy's a little weird, but he's great in one-on-one interviews, and he's actually making his first start ever tonight, which will be
Really?
interesting. And then next week, he's making a start against that team.
Okay, so hopefully he got the start against that team that he sort of brawl with.
Yeah, yeah. The
So
team that
do you know this? It's a player who flipped him. Was he a pitcher or a hitter?
well, the guy that he went after was a catcher on the Rockland Boulders named Marcus Nidifer, and he's this like 6'4", 250-pound monster.
Oh
And
wow.
he went. I don't think he got to him. I think the pitching coach tackled him before he got to him, or something along those lines. But it was definitely crazy. The pitcher's name is Fernando Cruz, and yeah, man, it was just a lot of craziness. I can't wait for the action when they face off against each other again. But the news went viral. I mean, it was on ESPN.
Yep.
It was on Yahoo, like just the main page over Donald Trump. It's great to get that kind of publicity. Obviously, not for that reason, but it was awesome. How's I know you're hosting sports talk at New Hampshire and ESPN.
A little bit, not
New
not
Hampshire.
consistently. I've gone to co-host a couple shows. It's going well at the ESPN New Hampshire, based in Nashua, New Hampshire. It's a lot of fun. Mostly doing production stuff for them, but they've been kind enough to let me get on the airwaves with Tommy Rowe. I was on there Thursday with Tommy Rowe and Brad Johnson. Tommy is the executive producer for the Shepard and Johnson show, and obviously Brad Johnson is a co-host for that show. 3 to 6 on ESPN New Hampshire, and I got to host Game Night, which is their 6 to 7 show. Only 6 to 6:30 because of the Red Sox game. They broadcast that, so at 6:30 they go to pregame, which is out of WEI. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've gotten a lot out of that place this summer. I'm doing that.
Wait, it's in Nashua?
Nashua, New Hampshire. Yeah,
Isn't that where Holly moved on The Office when
it is.
when her and Michael broke up?
It is. It is actually where Holly
Small
moved.
world, that.
Yeah, it's a pretty awful city.
Yeah.
No, it's all right. The center of town's nice.
Hey,
they have a problem with homeless people, though.
Holly lived there. All right,
that's true.
She
Michael
lived there.
Scott visited there.
He did.
No Scranton, though.
It's no, it's no Scranton. Why would you even say something like that?
I'm sorry.
It's definitely no Scranton, but I mean, that's awesome that you're doing that, and obviously there's other stuff going on besides ESPN New Hampshire and the New Jersey Jackals, and there's a ton. Just MLB is the only thing going on right now. We're getting really in like the dog days of the year where teams are really solidified as to who they are and just what they're capable of. And when you talk about teams making pushes now and whatnot, obviously the Baltimore Orioles leading that AL East division with a team also quiet success, the Blue Jays, Yankees holding around 500. Those four teams is really up for grabs. Maybe not the Yankees as much. The Yankees
definitely not the Yankees.
Well, Yankees, they're only 6 games out.
They don't have the roster to catch up. They really don't. That team, I don't look at as a serious contender at all. It's between Blue Jays, Red Sox, and the Orioles. And I'm a Red Sox fan. I try to remain optimistic. And I look at their roster right now. Kimbrel's out. He's out, I think, at this point, probably 2 to 4 weeks. Uehara's out with the strained pectoral. He'll be out probably up to a month. So their bullpen has taken a bit of a blow. They did get Brad Ziegler from the Diamondbacks right before Kimbrel got hurt, which added a little depth. Junichi Tozawa is back in the bullpen. But still, they have a weak bullpen. But that said, I think they've added a lot in their starting rotation. They've got Drew Pomeranz from the Padres. They trade away Anderson Espinoza, which was an overpayment. It was. There's no two ways to look at it. He's a number 15 prospect in the country, and he's like 19 years old, throws 100 miles per hour. People compare him to Jose Fernandez. He hasn't had the success in the minors like Jose Fernandez has, but he's still an unbelievable pitcher who has a very high ceiling. That said, he's still about 3-4 years away from being in the majors, from pitching for the Red Sox or whatever, or now the Padres. So Red Sox are in win now mode. Drew Pomeranz.
Yeah, well, here's my thing on the Red Sox. Okay, they're obviously in contention. That half game out, first place. I feel like them and the Orioles both have the same problem with the pitching staff, starting rotation, and the Red Sox bullpen isn't that good. I mean, the Orioles bullpen is great. I feel like the Red Sox, they're behind in that sense, and obviously their bats are a little better than the Orioles. And the Red Sox probably have one of, if not the best lineup in baseball.
They have the best lineup in baseball. Statistically, it's by far the best.
And just as long as, I don't know, like going into October, obviously they're going to either win the division or fight for a wild card spot. They need help in the rotation. That's not a secret. So who are they going to go after this trade deadline for a starter?
I mean, they just went after Pomeranz. I don't think you're really right here. The Orioles have a pretty subpar starting rotation. It's really not good at all, if we're being completely honest. Chris Tillman is the only pitcher who's done a decent job. You look at Kevin Gaussman, who has a 4.05 ERA, Ubaldo Jimenez, who's been god-awful, Tyler Wilson, another guy who's been pitching horribly. This Red Sox starting rotation, Stephen Wright has outperformed what people expected. Rick Porcello has been one of the more consistent pitchers in the league. And David Price is coming back to his former self. Top that with the addition of Drew Pomeranz, who had a 2.47 ERA with the Padres. I don't expect that type of success from him in the AL East, but still, that's a reliable 3-starter. And then Eduardo Rodriguez, who has 2 straight outings where he only gave up 1 earned run. And he has confidence in his slider again. Yesterday, he had 14 players on the Twins swung and missed at his pitches, which is a career high for Eduardo Rodriguez. I think he's going to finish out the season like he did last season and be a reliable starter. And that's 5 reliable pitchers in that starting rotation. I'm more worried about the bullpen. And honestly, it just comes down to waiting until Kimbrel and Uehara come back, so you have a little bit more depth back there. So this
Yeah, but
lineup's fine. This
going
lineup's
in,
fine.
going into the playoffs though, I don't know if that pitching staff. I know the lineup is obviously gonna have to do a lot of the cleanup duty stuff, but going up against arms like for the Indians, guys like Salazar and Corey Kluber, and also like the
It's the best
Rangers too.
lineup. It's the best lineup in the MLB, though.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I'm just saying I still think maybe. I mean, I don't know if this pitching staff is what they ideally wanted going into. Do you still think they could possibly make another trade for another pitcher? I know they're looking at the Phillies pitcher Jeremy Hellickson.
I mean, they have been looking at him. They looked into Chris Sale and Cantina on the White Sox, but I think they'd have to overpay for either of those guys. And I honestly don't know if it's worth it at this point. I look at the starting rotation, and I see that Rick Porcello has really found his stuff. I've seen that Stephen Wright is a Cy Young candidate at this point, and David Price is starting to pull it together a little bit more. Top that with Eduardo Rodriguez having 2 straight great starts. I think that this starting rotation can pull it together. Call me optimistic, overly optimistic. You can do that. That's fair. I just see this starting rotation starting to come together.
I know.
Really
it looks like it's starting to come together. But
and if you look at the lineup, they've hit extremely well all season long. You look at what David Ortiz has done; it's unbelievable. He's an MVP candidate. Same with Mookie Betts.
I wasn't saying anything about this lineup besides that it was the best in baseball, and it's one of the better ones that we've seen in a while, and easily comparable to last year's, and probably even could be considered as better than last year's Blue Jays team. That going into this play, it definitely is better than that, which is definitely saying something. However, you can't go ahead and just say, oh, yeah, Pomeranz, yeah, he's going to be a reliable starter. Oh, Rodriguez, yeah, he's had 2 good outings since he's been back. He's going to be a good starter. I mean, you still need to see more from those guys, so it's not a slam dunk. It's not in a horrible state, but I think that it should be a little better going into October, and they should have a solidified starting rotation going into the playoffs.
I mean, I've been watching this team all season, and Eduardo Rodriguez, his one problem has been confidence with his slider, being able to be not tipping pitches. Right now, he's found his stride. I honestly believe that. The slider has been working. He's been getting guys to swing and miss at it in the past 2 outings. So I think he's past that hump. I know it's only 2 starts, but once you find it, you find it. And he's been working with Carl Willis, the pitching coach for the Sox, a lot. And he's a guy who proved last year he has the ability to be a sub 3.5 ERA guy. And if you have that guy in your rotation, along with the top 3 starters on this rotation already, I think you're in a good position. Match that with Drew Pomeranz, who he had 12 days in between his start with the Red Sox and his previous start with the Padres after the All-Star break against a team that he has not had much success against in his career. He's 0 for 4 against the Giants. They've seen him a lot because they're in the NL West. Ironically, that's the first team he faces with the Red Sox. I think he'll do well. He has a half season in a league that does not have any familiarity with him, and he has an unbelievable curveball. I think he's going to be successful. He did too awful in his first start back, but it's his first start back. You can't read too much into that. And maybe I'm being overly optimistic, but I honestly think that it's reasonable to think that this rotation is going to pick it up. That's why I'm more worried about this bullpen, keeping it together.
Yeah,
Matt Barnes has been great. Matt Barnes has been great. Heath Hembry has been great. But outside of those 2 guys, it's been inconsistent all year long. And if I were them, I'd want to bring in a reliever before I bring in a starter.
What about Aroldis Chapman?
There's no way the Yankees are going to deal Aroldis Chapman to the Red Sox. That just never happens.
I know it was just a joke, but I mean, yeah, going around everywhere else, obviously the Red Sox, it's more wait and see to see with the new additions and the condition that guys are in injury-wise with the pitching staff. We'll just have to, obviously, it'll be a wait and see kind of thing, but they're not in a bad position. They're definitely in a playoff position, and with that lineup, it's incredible.
I mean, I tweeted out earlier today, if Eduardo Rodriguez continues to be successful, if he continues to pick it up and pitch like he has been in the last 2 starts, this is a World Series contending team. I think he is the key to this team being successful because they need 5 good starters to finish it out these last 2 months.
Yeah, and if he's able to do that, that's huge. If him, Pomeranz, combined with Porcello, Stephen Wright, and David Price, then it's definitely very solid, obviously. But there's a few ifs in that. But I do like this team going in. However, if I had an ALCS prediction pick, whatnot, I would say that it's going to be the Indians there, the Indians against either the Red Sox or against the Rangers. If I had to pick between those guys, it would be that. And I think the Indians are going to win the AL this year. I really do. I like this team a lot. They're just so well rounded, and I think they're going to trade maybe for a guy like Beltran to be a DH or something, gave them a little bit more power. But I really like this team.
You realize Texas now the Red Sox, their pitching right now is 9th in the AL. Texas, their pitching is 13th in the AL. So they've had a good season.
What's that stat based on? Just everything combined?
That's ERA.
Okay.
And to me, that's the most important stat you can have.
Of course it is.
So I don't think they have the pitching, and obviously I don't pay as much attention to the Rangers as I do the Red Sox. But given the moves that they've made and given how everything's starting to fall into place, I had the Indians and the Red Sox in the ALCS, and I think it's going to be a very good series. And honestly, it might come down to who has home field advantage. I'm not willing to make a prediction of who would win that series, but I have the Indians and the Red Sox in the ALCS right now.
Yeah, and then that's something around what I had too. I just think the Indians are definitely. If I had to pick, I'd pick them to win the AL and then maybe even the World Series. I like this team, but there's also so much talent in the NL too. And what I don't think the Marlins are quite there yet, obviously, but with Don Mattingly, what he's done with that team is just great, and they have a ton of talent. I think they're going to be good. Stick around for a little bit. I don't know about the Mets with the whole Harvey injury. I don't know about them, but the Cubs and the Giants, I know the Giants are in a little bit of a drought right now, but the Cubs, Giants, even the Cardinals too, no one can really sleep on them. This year is going to be a great postseason. It really is. I'm so excited.
And it sucks for the Dodgers because, I mean, they're without Kershaw now, and that's a huge blow. I think that ruins their chances of being a World Series contender, and that's huge for the Giants because that means they're probably going to run away with that division. But yeah, the Nationals, I think this Nationals team is something special. Same with the Cubs, but the Nationals have been more overlooked because the Cubs are so hyped coming into this year. The pitching on this Nationals team is unbelievable, matched with the stellar offense they have, their stellar lineup. It's just an unbelievable team to watch. And to me, they're my favorites coming out of the NL.
I just imagine if we had like an Indians Cubs World Series.
That'd be odd. I mean, look at last year. It was the Mets and the Royals. It's a new era of baseball. It's what it's turning into. It's not the Yankees and the Red Sox and whoever else coming out of the NL. It's a completely different era of baseball, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And it's because of this new young talent, and it's also because every team can afford these big name players. So you look at Zach Greinke signs the biggest contract in MLB history with the Arizona Diamondbacks of all team, who I think they've only won 40 games this year. Hasn't turned out in their favor.
They're the worst team in the NL besides the Reds.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, that doesn't just because you spend that much money doesn't mean you're going to be that good of a team. But I just think that it's a great thing that's happening to the game, and I look at this
too, man.
This Nationals team is just unbelievable. Although Bryce Harper might be the most overrated player in the game. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, he's hitting like 250 now.
He's like 250, only 55 RBIs.
Hey, man, look at the direction the pitching is going in, man. He's still a great hitter, and he's still going to be a great hitter. Guys just sometimes go through swigs and stretches where they just don't swing the bat well. That just happens. And you know it, and I know it. Look at Daniel Murphy right now. He's hitting 350, an MVP candidate. Would you say that he's a better hitter than Miguel Cabrera? Would you say he's a better hitter than who knows? I don't know, Bryce Harper?
No, I can't understand what's happening with Daniel Murphy. I think I don't know, a lot of these guys. It's really weird. You look at just even David Ortiz at his age doing what he's doing. Daniel Murphy, who hasn't been a relevant player in the game for his entire career, and even like a guy like Jake Arrieta who came out of nowhere at the age of 29. It's unbelievable what happens in this game.
I know baseball. It's just one of those things you can't predict it, man. It's so nice, and I'm gonna stick with my. You remember the beginning of the year, I predicted the Giants to win the World Series, and this wasn't just because it was an even year. I love their lineup. It's just stacked top to bottom, combined with the additions they made to the rotation in the offseason, combined with Bumgarner. They got Johnny Cueto, which was a great signing. And look what he's done. He was the starter. And then they also got Jeff Samardzija. And they're a very well-rounded team. And I I just like them a lot. I still think they're going to win it all, and I would love to see a Giants-Red Sox World Series. I think that would be so intense, so insane. Both teams that just don't lose in the big stage.
Yeah, it would be unbelievable, and you saw that series. It was a lot of fun to watch. Even though the Red Sox took 2 games, they didn't have to face their top 3 pitchers, which is huge, in Bumgarner, Cueto, and Samardzija. But yeah, you look at what Bumgarner's doing this season, and honestly, I think he's my favorite pitcher in the game. Just after what he did in 2014.
When he came in the 9th in Game 7 and shut it down?
And just the entire World Series in general, setting the ERA record. It was Bob Gibson-esque. And you just look at this rotation. Really, after Cueto, yes, Samardzija, who's been pitching all right, but it's really those 2 guys are unbelievable. And if you have 2 Cy Young candidates in your starting rotation, you're gonna have a good playoff run. And they're just as likely to make it to the World Series as the Cubs and the Nationals. But it's so tight between those top 3 teams that it's really hard to make a prediction. Also, this lineup has been very good. I don't think they're quite as good as a lot of these other teams. They're not as good as the Cubs. They're not as good as the Nationals, and I just don't think they're as well rounded. It's tough. All 3 of these teams are great, but I'm still sticking with Cubs and Nationals in the NLCS. I think the Nationals are probably going to come out of the NL.
And obviously, who knows? You can't even say a clear favorite ever. That's the beauty of baseball. That's what makes the postseason so exciting. But let's shift gears a little bit. Let's go to the NFL. A lot of news this week with running backs, and obviously the loss of Dennis Green was huge too. That I mean, he was. I remember him when I was younger. When I was younger, with his
rant,
who they thought they were. I remember I watched that game with my dad, and after the game, and here's the thing, I'm not dry humor is my favorite thing.
Yeah,
that's just what we do. If anyone has heard or seen some of our text messages, just one of our back and forths, pretty sure they would lock us. They would lock us in Alcatraz, probably. Probably, yeah. But looking at that speech back then. I cried from laughter. My dad and I were like, look at this guy. He's got a funny voice. He's like this just fat guy going off at the media. And I didn't know him for his years at the Vikings. That was before I was alive. I just looked at Dennis Green and just thought, wow, this guy's like a cartoon character screaming at the media with his weird, screechy voice. And I was dying.
Oh, yeah.
Now that he's passed away and I've learned about just his history as a coach and his passion and everything he's achieved, I watched that speech again yesterday, and it's honestly just respectable. Just seeing him being able seeing his passion for the game. He's one of the most passionate coaches that I've seen in the NFL. Obviously, he was only around till I was 10 with the Cardinals, but just his ability, just his love for the game and his love, and he puts all his emotions on the field and to the media, and he doesn't hide anything. He lets it all out for everyone to see, and I respected that. I did. But
and also what he did for African American coaches in this game, he's one of the pioneers. He's a guy who paved the way, and even so much more than just a coach who made that speech. Just a guy who was a coach for the Vikings in the '90s, who was successful. It was what his legacy is as an African American coach in this game. Him and guys like Tony Dungy in this league.
I just respect him. I can't wait for football. You know me. I know you are too, but I'm a massive football guy. I can't wait for it to be back. And it's so unfortunate. But also, other news, Le'Veon Bell facing a 4-game suspension. This guy, it's almost looking Josh Gordon-esque with him. Just every year. I even tweeted this yesterday. Is it even an NFL offseason if Le'Veon Bell isn't facing a 4-game suspension? and he faces that every year. And between injuries and that, he is one of the most talented running backs I've ever seen. And for him to get into all these issues, it's sad. It is sad. And hopefully, I know he's going to file an appeal, and because he didn't take a drug test, it's counting as a fail. And he's going to say that he wasn't able to get there on time, or he's going to say something like that. And maybe he'll win it. Maybe he'll be back. In my opinion, if you look at basically just a 1-2-3 combo of quarterback, running back, receiver, Steelers have the best one in the game.
Yeah, the most well-rounded for sure.
And if they want to make a playoff push, if they want to go far, and Big Ben his last few years, who knows how long he's going to go? He's one of the toughest guys ever that I've seen at the quarterback position. But just you need Le'Veon Bell. I know D'Angelo Williams is a great fit for their offense, but Le'Veon Bell, man, he's a top 3 rusher in the game if he's healthy, and he's arguably the best.
Yeah, he's only 24 years old. The guy, his best years are yet to come.
Yeah, and obviously running backs, who knows how long they're going to be around in the NFL, but
that's true.
I just hope to see him back on the field as soon as possible because he is so talented and he's just a great runner. Now, another running back, this guy is even younger. It's his first, going into his rookie year, Ezekiel Elliott. He's just turned 21 on Friday. Just turned 21. He's the same age as us. And now he's facing domestic violence thing. And this is one of the cases, because this is interesting. It's been talked about on ESPN a lot. And the Cowboys, unfortunately, are huge with having guys with domestic violence issues. But it's just looking at a guy like this and looking at he's the number 1 selling NFL jersey coming into here. Number 1, and he has a lot of hype, the 4th pick in the draft. The Cowboys have only taken 2 other running backs, top 5, and both of them were Hall of Famers. So he's obviously a lot riding on him. There's a lot of pressure on him to succeed and do well, especially with that line and playing with Romo and playing in that situation. And now this comes out of the report of him assaulting his girlfriend in the car. And it's huge. And I saw a lot of conflicting reports about it. There's a lot of reports of his girlfriend posting pictures of her bruises, but there's also other reports saying there were witnesses there that said it didn't happen, and also text messages proving that it didn't happen. I don't know what to believe with this, but I just think with the whole domestic violence issue that the NFL and that we're facing this country with professional athletes, I think you need to look at it. And you can't just look at it from one side, oh, he definitely abused her, or oh, she's just trying to get money out of him. How can you just say that with just that connotation and just say that without even knowing the facts? And I looked at, and I was trying to find a valid source of what actually happened, and it's tough. And domestic violence it's sometimes tough to detect what really happened. It's the same thing with sexual harassment too. That's even tougher. But if you look at situations like this, you have to know, and I do not condone domestic violence. You know that, everyone knows that. No one condones domestic violence. But there's 2 sides to the story. There is. But with whatever happened, I just need to see a correct report. But to say that, oh, she's only trying to get money out of him, he didn't hit her, or oh, he definitely did it. It's you need to know both. You need to know that there's both sides.
I mean, you can't. It's not. I just try to stay away from this until all the facts come out. I'd like to think that a kid who was just drafted in the 1st round by the Cowboys did not do something this stupid. But you also have to assume that whoever is alleging that is telling the truth. That said, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. There are a lot of conflicting reports. Maybe she's not a great person who alleged something that didn't happen, but to accuse someone of that is terrible.
And look, you see, I saw, one report says they were living together, that she said that they were. Ezekiel Elliott says that they weren't. Someone says that they were. This many witnesses, this, that. I just need to know the facts. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I just thought we would touch on that. And to go into some final thoughts here, I know you wanted to go into the Patriots, and I just wanted to get mine off really quickly in a second. The Phillies this year, we've talked about it a lot. They're a team that's overachieving, and it's kind of sad to say a team's overachieving when they're 8 games below 500, but they are. Well, no matter how you want to look at it, they are. They're 45-53, but at this point, hey, if you were to tell me that they were this record going into August, I would be thrilled. I would be thrilled, and the fact that they're so ahead in their rebuild stage is huge. Now, they called up a kid, Zach Eflin, a few weeks ago. They sent back down Adam Morgan. He's done. He's not doing well. So Zach Eflin's is in their rotation now. His first time out on June 14th at Toronto, he gave up 8 earned runs in 2 2/3 innings. Since then, since that start, he's been out there and he's had 8 starts since then, or 7 starts, since then. And he has like a 2 ERA since that horrible start. And he's pitched 2 complete games one with 1 earned run, and then last night in Pittsburgh, a complete game 3-hit shutout. So I know obviously it still might be early to detect this guy, but the way that he's been pitching and the way that he's been coming on, he's only 22, combined with, and he has great secondary pitches too. It's not like a guy just throws gas like Chapman without secondary pitches. This guy throws a lot of different stuff, and he trusts them. I think he could definitely be a pitcher for them for the future, hopefully. And also, Aaron Nola, I don't know if you knew about this. Going into the All-Star break, he was in a funk. He had like a 8 ERA in June. They gave him a little break the week before the All-Star break to clear his head. He came back and pitched really well against the Marlins his first time out. So my final thought is just to see the Phillies so ahead in this rebuild plan. It sets my mind at ease a little bit.
Yeah, just to touch on Eflin, in the month of July, he's pitched 30 innings, giving up 6 earned runs. That's a 1.8 ERA, a .83 WHIP. So that's .83 walks and hits per innings pitched, which is pretty unbelievable. My final thoughts, I got 2. One is the Patriots. Obviously, we've touched on Brady taking a suspension. I'm excited for Garoppolo. I'm just sick of people acting like they know how he's going to react when he's on the field and how he's going to play. I have no clue if he's going to be great or if he's going to be horrible. We do not know. I'm hoping they get at least 2 wins out of these 4 games, but I'm not going to predict which games they're going to win. They start out in Arizona, which
don't they start like 2-2 every year, the Pats, anyway?
They do. I mean, last year that was the case. And also, Brady has 4 less games to play this year. He's not getting any younger, so there are some positives to this. The underlying thing is him winning against Goodell. But if he's out the first 4 games, I mean, maybe he'll be healthier come playoff time because recovering every week is extremely difficult at that age. My second final thought, or the final thought, is the Olympics. I hate the Olympics. I think it's the most overrated super event in the world ever. I don't care about track and field. I don't care about hurdling. I don't care about shot put. I don't even care about Olympic golf. If you were a real athlete, you're going to play something in which you're going to make money at. You're not going to be the best at exercising, as Kenny Powers would say. And I have no interest in it. And I hate how people act like it's this great big event where the best athletes, swimming and diving. I don't want to watch people swim in a pool. I'm sorry.
Well, here's the thing. I think and first of all, I love the Eastbound and Down reference. Great show. And also Vice Principals with
I saw the first episode.
Very, very good. I think it's going to be good. Obviously, first episode, you got to give it time to breathe, but I love Danny McBride. It's the same guys as Eastbound and Down, this show.
Yeah.
So it's going to be great. But I think that the Olympics are made for amateur athletes. So I don't think you should be knocking these other sports because, one, the guys that are really great in these other sports, they get endorsements and they make a lot of money too. I'm not knocking these other sports, but the Olympics, I do believe, are also overrated. I'm just not as interested in some of the sports, but I'm excited. I'm excited to watch them. I really am.
I mean, it's not as much as I hate the athletes as I just hate the process, the IOC, the fact that they pick places like Qatar and Sochi and Rio, and basically just pick these places because they get bribed to, and because the people on the committee get money because they pick these places. It's a completely flawed process that I can't take seriously because it is flawed and because it is so corrupt. It's like FIFA, except FIFA is actually a legitimate, fun competition in which it's unbelievable to watch. The Olympics, I don't give a crap about swimming or diving or track and field. That's just my final thought.
Okay, yeah, and to be not interested in these sports and the organizations and everything that goes into making them where they are or what they are, that's completely your opinion. And yeah, so thanks for joining us, guys. We'll be back again next week. We'll recap everything, recap the thing going on in the MLB world, any other big news, big sport headlines. We'll have them right here. Follow me on Twitter at JSaki. Follow the Twitter account at the Jon and Lebo Show. And yeah, we'll get everything, all the action for you next week.
And I'm at capital LEBOJR15. And it's actually at Jon and Lebo Show. No the. So at Jon and Lebo Show.
Did I say the?
The didn't fit in the handle.
Okay, sorry.
Good try though.
All right.
All right, we'll be back next week.
Yeah, take care.